This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. You know what? Let's just jump into the ice thing, because I'm like, we were just talking about it, so like, might as well just roll right into that. So you're saying like Jon Stewart was talking about how it might be like a red herring type of thing, like you're increasing the I don't know, like severity of it or like the frequency of it, and then it's forcing us to focus less on the tweeting scandal.
Yeah.
That's his take, Jon Stewart's take.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, but why? What would the ends be? Is it because, you know, he thinks that he's actually in the Epstein files, or it's just a bad look on the economy? Because I would argue that having these people going around looks even crazier, you know? Like, we're looking at it as an outside party.
Yeah, no. Well,
wild.
I think it's more his own base was like what's going on with Elon and Trump. What's going on with Elon and Trump right now? It's like back to the whole get the criminals out. Yeah.
Okay, what's the thing with the ICE? So like, have you looked into it? Because you're like, oh, get the criminals out. But I'm like, who are they? Who are they targeting? What's their agenda? And like, why does it look like Nazi Germany right now? You know what I mean? Like, you look at the parallels, you're kind of like, oh, dude, they're just like pulling people out, and you're like, what are we saying? Yeah. You know, it's not like, you can't be like, oh, that's such an extremist point of view, and then people are like, oh yeah, you should kick them out. It's like, that's what they said about like the Nazis were saying that to the Jews too, bro. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So like, what is like the ICE thing? Can you give me like an overall picture of it? I didn't look into it. I'm just like, peripherally, I'm like, okay, so there's a thing called ICE. They're getting these illegals out, but the tactics and means that they're doing looks crazy.
But even though it's like or illegal or something, there's a lot of questioning around that too, just because it's how they are terming or defining those terms. They could be like, how do they know where to go, right? They could be just like doing the whole asylum thing, right? And which is technically legally, like I'm here, I'm looking like trying to get asylum, but it takes time to go through the course to do that. But sometimes those times, because they don't have enough judges and all that, it's not done within the time period that they were given. So then they call them criminals, all right, and then trying to take them out. But that's it's the government problem. It's not that they were here illegally or not, right? I'm sure some may have been criminals or other things like that. But like there was one that was sent to like Ecuador, right? Like, or whatever. I forgot which country it was that they're sending him to jail there. But that guy, even the Supreme Court said that no, he should be back here. And I remember there was another story where they actually sent an American, thinking it was a Mexican.
No.
Out, yeah.
Okay.
Or they got the wrong guy. So there's a lot of these things that are happening.
Okay, so what is this? What is this whole thing like? Is it a war on like colored people? Like, no, really think about that though. Like I said that like, oh, okay, and people are like, oh yeah, that's like that's like a blanket statement. But like, if you're getting things wrong, is it like shoot first, ask questions later type of thing? You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, oh, innocent until proven guilty, or is it guilty until proven innocent? You know?
Yeah,
it's just the way
and then they're
moving, you know?
yeah, and then they're it's like the definition thing. They're saying, well, they're not Americans, so they're illegals.
Okay, well, all right. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but also I've been seeing a lot of indigenous people, like Native Americans, put these like posts up, like "Where were your papers?"
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you
No,
technically
no,
you understand colonization,
yeah. No, no. Even
you
even
know.
even that definition I said, that's how they're defining it, or they're trying to use that way. But then there's another interpretation, which is if you're on American soil, you're treated in due process. It's not like you're treated as a criminal or anything like that, or even not as an
Right?
American. You're treated as you have those rights because you're not on the soil, on the American soil.
But they're not actually doing that, right? Because they're just like
No,
pulling
no,
people
no, no.
out and
Because that's they're changing their interpretation to do it that way so they can
like just
just
fully take
yeah,
people out.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so I thought so from the pictures I was like, maybe this is like really happening because you never really trust social media. So like there's a dude I know, like I sent you our conversation and it's just like, is this real? I asked him
Mm-hmm.
because like there's some things that you'll see in Asia and so like one quick example is like in the Philippines, like China's like crushing it, not in a good way. Like they're like doing a lot of bad
Mm-hmm.
things, and the Filipino people are freaking out. And I'm like, oh, we're not hearing that here. And then on Joe Rogan, they're talking about the future of warfare and how they showed the Chinese plane had like is like the mothership and it had all these mini drones shoot out. And I sent to my cousin and I was like, look at this. And he's like, yeah, that's why we're all freaked out about China. I'm like, oh, okay. So like remember we talked about how like you don't see the full picture around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I messaged the guy that I know in LA and I was like, is it actually crazy? And he's like, yeah, brother, it's pretty bad, right? And like they're not even looking for the right people anymore. It's almost like they're just taking anyone. And I'm like, ooh, because the dude I know is Mexican too. So it's like, you must be freaking out. And I was like, oh, yeah, hope you're okay, whatever. But like
Mm-hmm.
how must that like that's like imagine if they were doing like a war on like Indian people or a war on like
Mm-hmm.
Filipino people. I'd be like, oh dude, I'm like Filipino, what are we
Yeah, yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, I just feel really freaked out about the current times.
Mm-hmm.
I there's like a weird like I've been saying it, but like there's a weird shift going on between like good and evil now where it's like there's certain things that are just clearly evil, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you know. And it's weird too because you can see like if we were in Nazi Germany time, right? And there was like supporters of the Nazi party, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you only knew that it was crazy after the fact, right? But during the moment, you're like, support the Nazi party, right? But with this whole Trump thing, especially in the jujitsu community, there's a bunch of people that are like, yeah, get out, you illegals. And I'm just like, bro, like
Yeah.
you guys are crazy, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Fun fact, those people were white who said that. But like it was it's interesting that Joe Rogan he put a stance down where he's like, it doesn't matter where you draw the line in the sand. It's just there's certain things that are just not cool. And ripping a child away from your parents, not cool. We don't want to be on your team. Like that's not cool. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool. At least you said that because you're a very influential figure. And a lot of jujitsu people are like pro this ice thing. I'm like, why are you guys pro this? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Is there an argument to the other side aside from like white supremacy? Like, give me an argument that's not that. Like what? Like, I don't get it. Like, because
No,
the
there isn't an
economy,
argument that
that's what I mean,
works the
right? I'm
other
like,
way. No.
right? Like, it's clearly in one direction,
Yeah.
guys, but
Yeah.
they're refusing to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've seen that thing where after this whole ice thing and like whatever, like Las Vegas had like lost a bunch of workers. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's like it's affecting economy. Like they're literally people are saying like they're the backbone of the economy. It's like quite
They are.
literally, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
They're like they're going to because they're wait, like at Home Depot, they wait to get jobs, or not like specific
Oh,
from
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Home
No, I know what you're
Depot, but
saying.
like doing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
construction work and stuff like
Customers.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just going directly there and taking them all.
I know that is insane, bro.
Yeah.
That is like quite insane. And like, yeah, with that too, it's like, where do we go from here? You're affecting your economy like with a backbone. And then Las Vegas had some fires, and like I saw Boston, Florida, all these places are like like going like it's like ice, anti-ice kind of thing, and you're just like, dude, all these little fires are like LA, then I saw Boston, then I saw Florida, and I'm just like, what are we doing?
Hmm.
And then the Florida dude was like, we will kill you and we'll just tell you, we'll tell your family where your body is. You're like, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah. I don't know if this is like uh, exactly how it happened, but like if Trump sending that National Guard
Oh yeah, that thing too. Oh my
into
God, bro.
California is technically illegal if the governor never asked for the National Guard.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? And it's like, did you break the law then? So then
Well, yeah.
can you, but then if you broke the law, like, are you impeachable?
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah.
Oh,
That's they
really?
would. I don't know how. Again, they have to pass it. You have to do it through Congress and the Senate. But if the Congress and Senate are majority Republicans, it's going to be hard to do that.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Do you remember the movie Civil War?
Hmm.
And we're like, no, I don't know. And it was like, okay, the reason why the Civil War started is he wanted to have a what fourth term or something, third term,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
maybe
that's how the
something
movie
like that. Yeah.
started,
I think a
right?
fourth or whatever term. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like he finished, and then he's like, I just want one more, right? And then they were like, yeah, and then they had a Civil War break out about that. It's like, and you watch that movie, you're like, there's no way it would happen like this. But
Hmm.
it's like, okay, it might not be a fourth term that they're gonna fight over, but maybe it's ICE that they're gonna fight over,
Hmm.
because you have the president sending in the National Guard, and then you have the well, who's the state person? Who what do you call them?
The governor.
The governor. So like the governor's like, didn't he say like put him in jail? Put the governor in jail? Trump?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Right.
So you're like, bro, okay, now we're warring against politicians, like, and you're saying jail? It's not even like a soft landing,
Hmm.
bro.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I I really worry that you might actually just see civil war happen. And a lot of people were already saying that. They're like the social media posts that I've been seeing about LA, they're like, oh, this is civil war. This is the new civil war. And I'm like, what are you guys saying right now, bro?
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you think? Like, chances of that? Possibility?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, from the LA riots. Well, I don't want to say riots. LA, the
Protests?
protests, yeah, and stuff like that against ICE. It's spreading across America, right?
Yeah. And then where do you go from here?
Hmm.
Like, do you, like, I just don't know. Like, how do you settle this without getting him out? But then if you get him out, then all his fan base will be pissed.
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah,
Because like literally, I'm telling like the jujitsu community when I see them like supporting, I'm like, well, what are you guys saying right now,
yeah,
guys?
yeah. No, there's a lot of people that agree on the Trump side.
That's what I mean. Like, agree.
Agree.
Like, what?
Yeah, and that's 50% of the people, right? Or at least the
That's why
voters
it's
that voted
crazy.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that is literal civil war. You have two sides going against each other,
Hmm. Hmm.
having wars
And
in
going
your country.
against, yeah, and going against judges' orders, even the Supreme Court, right? So he's saying now he's above the law, right? He's calling himself king. So
No.
yeah, a lot. Yeah,
Recently or
it's
before?
no, before, like through when he's like last month, right? Like some of those tweets are
Wow.
on his social media were like, long live the king or something like that. Like
Oh
he's
my God.
used, yeah, he's used those terms, those words. So it's like that's a little weird.
That is weird. I was listening to this podcast about like UFOs again, and one thing they're talking about with the breakaway civilization, and like you're kind of seeing it now, which is democracy is like a new experiment. Like even
Hmm.
though what he was saying is that we have like the fiction, like we have the illusion of a democracy, right? But there are always people who are pulling the strings, like people who have more money and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Because like quite literally, like the trading, right? That book, Gary Stevenson, his book, The Trading
Hmm.
Game or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
and you find out how like trading works, and I was like, what? But it's like they have way more money and influence than us, so it's like they literally are in power, and that influences our interest rates, all that stuff, right? It's no different than like you're like at the lowest level of your company, and then you have a CEO. Like there's always
yeah.
somebody
Hmm.
like who's running things. And what he's saying is like we're just given the illusion of choice and like democracy. We do have it, but it's like why didn't Bernie Sanders win then? Well, why do you have to like pitch political campaigns? Why do you need money for this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, oh, I got to pay for commercials. Okay, so it's not fair. It's like who can raise the most money to pay for commercials?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm backed by these banks. Okay, cool. Now I have, and now they're in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're giving us the illusion in like front facing, like, oh, yeah, you could choose, you could vote whoever you want. But then in reality, it's like if you didn't see the commercial, do you even know that you should be voting for that person?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
maybe they have the best marketers on that team, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it's kind of freaky because you're really it's being exposed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like think about like I don't know the Vietnam War and how everyone after that was like, oh, it was like a sham war, blah blah. We were losing it, you know. And it's like now we have the internet to tell us quickly. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
we would have never seen the actually, you know what's no. You know what's actually really crazy about this whole thing? So the LA stuff was happening and it was in my feed because those are the people I follow, right? Like those kinds of people. And then that kind of like algorithm of like what's going on in
Yeah.
the world, you know what I mean? And then I was like, yeah, I don't know if you know what's happening in LA, but it's like kind of freaking me out right now. And like the people that I said, they were like, what's going on in LA? And I'm like, what are you saying right now? And then I sent them the article and they're like, what? And they were like mind blown. Like Tara
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know. I was
Yeah.
like, what? Like that's crazy. You don't even know that this insane thing is happening
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
America right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's the control. Where it's like, oh yeah, like we have voting rights. You do, but it's like also information, bro.
Mm, yeah.
If you don't see it, is it real?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Hitler's Germany, we didn't know what was really happening. And then when you found out, like they went and they're like, dude, there's concentration camps. You
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
wasn't that like way later, right? They just like, oh yeah, just Hitler's doing some craziness, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they stormed it, they're like, oh dude, you're like rounding them up. What are you doing?
Yeah. What is this? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See what I mean? So it's like it's the information travel that's really like propelling this forward. And
Mm-hmm.
it's freaking out some of us and like people just like quietly are unaware. It's just insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wonder if that's the battle now. When you say like, oh, it's an internal spiritual battle, you're like, what do you mean? But it's like if you curate your reality, your algorithm, then you'll be aware of these things. But if you curate it in like a sleepy direction, then you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sure.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
onus is
Yeah.
on
Of
you. You know what I'm
course.
saying? Like the
Yeah.
onus is
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
you now
Yeah.
to like go out and seek out the information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I guess you can't know
But you
everything because
won't.
then
Yeah. How would you know what information to look out for if you don't know it?
totally right. Yeah, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you ever hear like doom scrolling?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what is that? Like Tara was like, yeah, doom scrolling. People do it. And I'm like, like why would you do that? Like just like from the name alone, I'm going to assume it means that you're looking at negative content over and over and over. Doom scrolling. I'm assuming, right? Unless it's like a waste of time scrolling. I don't
It's.
know.
I
Is
think
the
it's a
doom
waste
what?
of time scrolling.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you like? Let's Google that right now. Because I, if it's just a waste of time scrolling, I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Because like why would you waste your like? How's that wasting of time if you're like learning information or you know? My assumption is that it's like you're just watching
Oh,
negative
you're
things
right.
over
Yeah.
and over
No,
and over.
excessively consuming negative news or content online.
Okay, right. Because I was like doom, you know. But see, like you were like me. I thought that's what it meant too. I thought you're just like wasting time
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like well, my feed isn't negative like that. I mean, like I see the ice thing. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. But like I've curated my feed in a way that I'm like seeing art and like cool things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Yeti, the AI stuff, right? But like when I heard about this doom scrolling, it's like, just stop doing that, bro.
Right.
Like what? Would you stop doing that?
Well, it's. Well, I think there's something to it. Then, if it's a real thing, then there's a reason why we keep doing it, right?
Yeah, because if it bleeds, it leads. People like negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it's like a comparison thing. It's like, oh, I'll never be like them. And
Yeah.
like
Right.
it'll pop up in my feed too. So like Justin Bieber, like, oh, he had an outburst because I follow TMZ. So like he had an outburst. I'll like see it and I see the headline. I'm like, ah, pass. I'm like, oh, Kendrick Lamar doing this thing. That's cool. Let's watch. All right,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Because it's based on time, right? Like I know that your algorithm is The algorithm is actually watching my playtime.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with like what you. I also like things, and Tara's like, "Why do you like things? That's so like old school." I'm like, "No, I'm teaching my algorithm like I like this. Show me more of this." Like I'm not
Right.
doing it like I appreciate your work. No, it's like algorithm. Like Netflix. You're like
Yeah, yeah,
rate
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the thing. You know what I mean? I treat it like that. I don't actually. If you see me like things, it's literally just because I'm trying to tell the algorithm keep showing me this thing. Not like you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like, all right, so going back to it, why don't you just take ownership, bro? It's confusing to me. If you know that that's a thing, just why don't you just do it, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, no, no. I have the answer to this because I've been really wrestling with this for a long time, and then I like asked Tara about it because I was confused. I'm like, why do they just go in this like thought pattern spiral? Okay.
Okay.
So okay, all right, let me just like cue this story up. So it even happened this morning. I posted something on my story, and then this dude that I know, shout out to you if you're listening to this, great for you, and they were like, oh, great for us, because but he was like, I want to be you when I grow up, and that's not the first time I've gotten that. Me and Tara were in Iceland one time, and I was like messaging this person, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, I can't get to that right now. I'm like in Iceland," and they were like, "I want to be you when I grow up," and I'm like, "What are you saying? Like, what are you talking about?" And then Tara's like, "Oh, it's just a thing people say." I'm like, "Why would they say that?" That's because they want to, like develop into that person. I'm like, so why are you waiting, bro?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, like that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I literally see like, oh, Kendrick Lamar's doing some push-ups in the park. Cool. Maybe I should work out too. Oh, he's running. Maybe I should run too. You know what I mean? Like you see it and you're like, maybe I should probably do that too.
Mm-hmm.
If it inspires you. Okay. So like with all that, I was like, why do people do this thing? And then Tara was like she told me because she like teaches this to like actual parents. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. She took like a certification in this, and then she was like, well, don't teach anyone because like you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm like,
Right.
what? Just do whatever I want, bro. Share the information. Like, all right, don't take any of this as like doctor advice. If you
Right.
want like the actual accurate thing, this is more of my interpretation of the thing because she was like, you
Mm-hmm.
can't teach it because you're not a doctor. I'm like, you're right. So here we go. So I actually wrote it down. I had it as a thing, like my papers, because I was literally taking notes as she was speaking. I'm like, okay, that's how that's made. Okay, cool. All right. So it comes from cognitive behavioral therapy. Do you know what CBT is?
Remind me. It's been a while
Okay,
since I've heard that term.
so right. So Tara took like the CBT course and like it's this new wave of therapy where usually people tell you like you go to a therapist, you're like, oh, this is my problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that sucks, and you usually like emotionally vomit the thing, right? But there's a new thing called cognitive behavioral therapy where they're not even doing that; they're actually just restructuring your whole wiring through behavior. Okay, and it's so effective. It's like if you're afraid of needles, there's like steps you can take through CBT, whatever, whatever. And it's just built off a simple triangle of emotion, thought, and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's all it is. So emotions, you, you can never stop an emotion. It's an innate response. And when she told me that, I was like, that's why I always say if I meet the Buddha, like, dude, this is Buddha, I'm slapping him in the face. And people are like, why do you say that? I'm like, no, I'm going to show you that you can't escape your emotion, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a knee jerk response, right? Like fear, all those things, knee jerk response, 100% uncontrollable. Then you have thoughts. The first two thoughts that you think are uncontrollable, but your third, fourth, fifth, sixth can be controlled. So like once you have an emotion, it creates a thought, and that's just automatic, right? Automatic emotion, automatic thought. But then you can start to like layer thoughts
Mm-hmm.
on top of that. Okay, so you have 80% control, but you have 80%, 20% control, 0% control of motion, 20% control of thoughts, something like that. And you have 100% control over your behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's where CBT's magic comes in because what they do is they restructure your behavior so that it'll affect your emotion and then affect your thought. See how it's like a triangle? It just keeps spinning over and over. So like we can't control emotion. We can kind of control thoughts, but we can 100% control behavior. And that's why they're like, just do like a small thing, like the step in that, right? Like I'm afraid of needles. Okay, cool. Just book the appointment, bro. So all right, cool.
Right.
I can affect that, you know? And like just by focusing on what you can affect, like exposure therapy, right? Like, okay, now get the numbing, get the injection. Oh, it didn't hurt, right? All right, let's try again, bro. Okay, yeah, numbing, and, you know, and then over time, I won't get that knee jerk response of fear towards the needle because I know that it doesn't hurt because I use numbing cream, right?
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the whole key to this entire thing, and this is why people are stuck, because they run that loop over and over, is
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have the awareness of their thought. They don't have awareness that this whole programming is running it all.
Right.
Like 90% of people just run an autopilot. And that's why you get those things like, oh, I want to be when you grow up. It's like, for me, I've already just broken the cycle. I'm like, well, I'll just do it, you know? I'll just
Yeah,
affect
yeah, yeah.
behavior.
Right.
But most people just running the loop, you know? So like, and then that got me thinking, like, how much of society is just running loops?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's
It's
trippy though,
true.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then are we just like a hive loop?
Well, yeah. I
You know what I mean?
mean, yeah. I would say majority of the world is uh, reactive, right?
Right, because they don't have the awareness.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know that this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I was like talking to Tara about because we had a whole podcast like you and I about enlightenment understood, and I was saying like enlightenment is literally just understanding that you have a mind, like no realizing you have
Mm-hmm.
a mind, because then everything stems from there. You can break out of the loop
Right.
once you realize that. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
people
yeah.
are always like trying to think about because like even when I was like telling her this, like when we went to Thailand, and then I asked those monks like, "What is enlightenment?" And I'm like reading about it in books, like an enlightened being is able to float and like, you're like, no, what? Okay, so I can do some tricks, like you know what I mean? But it's like if you like boil it all the way down, it's really just like realizing you have a mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
how many people know that that's a thing? You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
sounds so simple,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Osho, like so Tara teaches that to a lot of people, and then they're always blown away. And then she's like, you're not your thoughts. You're just like you can just watch your thought, right? And I was like, oh, Osho has the best line for this. It was like in his The Path of Yoga book by Osho. He's like, it's like the sky, the blue behind the clouds are like your thoughts, and then the blue behind it is your consciousness. You're able to just like watch them pass,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if you're enlightening people this all the time, it's like why didn't we just bake that in from day one? You know what I mean? And that's why I like the work Tara's doing because like with the little kids, you know, she's like teaching them this, and then
Mm-hmm.
the parents are like enlightened too. And it's like a double whammy because now the kids know it at a young age, and then the parents know it, and then like they grow into like consciously aware beings.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
consciously aware. Just like, hey man, I'm aware of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what do you think.
I think. Uh, I mean, I don't know, but it could be that what is that caused us to separate or not understand this concept? Um, I wonder if that's all due to religion, because majority of the population is religious, right? And
Oh, dude.
if
Okay,
if
yeah,
that's
keep
the
going.
case, right, like where there's no focus on the mind or that the separation of that, like that's none of that's really being taught, and that's stuff that you're being taught through childhood, right? Like the religious stuff.
Yeah,
So if you're not, if that's the basis or the foundation that a lot of the world is following, so that's why like a lot of people don't know about these things.
okay, 100%. So, I was listening to Billy Carson with this guy. I can't remember who he was. He's like this boxer, and they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about like, they're talking about Jesus. And I was like, I don't know. There's something to Jesus that I keep seeing, but it's because Jesus is not the Jesus that we know.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is somebody that learned like the Hinduism, the Egyptian, the esoteric arts, and then brought them and was trying to teach it to people. And then it wasn't until Rome co-opted that in order to like mass manipulate people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Emperor Constantine thing, like what they were saying on the podcast is like the Jesus that's the real Jesus, like the in the historical text and like all that stuff. he had truths that are like universal,
Hmm.
right? But it but he became weaponized through the Catholic Church.
Sure.
No, but like actually like historically they
Hmm.
use
Hmm.
if you
Hmm.
just go to Rome, they'll tell you like the Roman people don't like the what is it? The Vatican. And I was
Hmm.
like, why don't you guys like them? And they're like, oh, it's because like they're ruling us through like this ideology. I was like, what are you guys saying, bro? Like the Vatican's like right there, you know? Like
Right.
literally in Rome. It's Rome within Rome is the Vatican.
Hmm.
And they're
Hmm.
just like trash talking them. I'm like, what? But they're so powerful. And they're like, yeah, because they just like manipulated people into like thinking this thing.
Hmm.
Like they all know it. And you're just like, why is it not common knowledge? But then think about it. It's like Rome extended throughout the world, throughout Europe,
Yeah.
and then like it affected Britain. It affected, I guess, Spain too. So I don't know. But like then that became our Western ideology.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like 1,000 years is a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Like in the time frame of like
Yeah.
humanity, right? But has it been 1,000 years since? Has it been 1,000 years since like Rome?
Roman like Catholicism or just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't, maybe yeah.
Just look when Emperor Constantine was alive, because he's the one who like pioneered it. And they're talking. I feel it's the Council of Nicaea. I haven't looked into this, but they kept bringing it up. And like the Council of Nicaea is where they like decided what
When was he
scriptures.
born? You said or
Yeah, yeah.
okay, 272 CE.
Well, what's that?
I think
Current
that's
era. It was like AD, right? CE
yeah.
is like 80.
So after 272 years after Jesus,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So okay. So 272. So
so
like,
it's more than 1,000 years.
oh, it's been more than 1,000 years.
Well, it's we're 2025.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So
Damn. Wow. Okay. That is, and we're still running that same operating system.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
At least
that's
the
crazy.
Western world. Yeah. But it affected the whole world, right? Through that. So
Yeah. No. Totally. Totally. But that's the crazy part. It's like that's a 2,000-year-old
yeah,
operating system, bro. Oh, like we're
yeah,
calling it
yeah,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
operating system because it's like you can upgrade your system, bro.
Hmm.
Just like learn new things.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is the real indoctrination right here. This is the real like mind manipulation, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And this is what he's saying. He's like the UFO dude, where our whole lives, our whole like history, we've been ruled by another upper class.
Hmm.
But now we're sold the idea that we're not ruled. But it's like, you really think you just erased that overnight? Yeah.
Hmm.
Like what rich family from that time continued their birth line and kept putting money aside? Because we have like the Rockefellers here and like all that stuff. And you're like, oh, they're like rich families. I'm like, yeah, but what about like the 2,000-year-old rich family that we don't know about?
Hmm.
You think that
Right.
money just like got erased? You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? I was like,
Yeah,
where did
yeah.
that money go?
Right.
Or you think that's like too conspiratorial? You're like, I don't think so.
No, I think that there can be some connection, but we don't even know who they could be, right? I was watching the the thing that happened, the Titanic, that Ocean Gate thing that imploded, going down to see the Titanic like 2 years ago.
No. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
there was a Netflix put out a doc, and then like they were talking about like who that CEO was, and like he comes. We didn't realize. I didn't know, but like he comes from, like there was an image or not an image, but a painting of when they did the Declaration, and his lineage. There were people in the background. It was one of his like family members. That's
That's what I
who.
mean. That's what I mean, bro.
So, yeah.
It's like, who are those people, bro? Like, that's what Sal Payas was saying on American Alchemy. He's like, we know the famous names like Rockefeller and like
Sure.
Rothschild, all that stuff, right? But it's the names you don't know that
Hmm.
you should be afraid of, because to even utter their name is certain death. Why? Because they're like, you shouldn't know who we are.
Hmm.
There was a movie about that. Remember, it was like Mark Wahlberg, and then he was the commercials. What got me, and he was kidnapped. Like it was the son. He's like, I walk amongst you. You think that I'm just like you, but I'm not. I'm rich. So the world to me is completely different than your world. Everything opens up for me, and I was like, "What is this movie?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, but he comes from that like rich family
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. You
Yeah.
know, dude, that's so trippy. You know what's weird too? Like you hear about the connections between the I can't remember the exact one, but Jeff Bezos's uncle. He's like some really famous person in like aeronautics.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah,
that.
like NASA, I think, something like that. I can't remember. It
Jeff
just came up
Bezos'
in like
cousin. Okay.
no uncle.
Oh, uncle. Sorry.
So we think that these people just came out of nowhere, right? Like, oh, Jeff Bezos, he like pulled himself up by his bootstraps. It's like, no, bro. Like, he knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody, or like you're connected in that weird way. You know what I mean? Like, there's some weird lineage secret society type thing going on. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking it up? Does it say he like
Uh,
helped put somebody on the moon? Maybe I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Jeff Bezos' famous uncle.
Famous uncle. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, because it's trippy when you think about it. You're like, oh, are they all connected, or is this just like it's a luck, chance? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, and then you just like, I'll just fill the void as you continue to search.
It's not.
Not coming up.
Yeah. No. Do you have his name?
No, I don't. I don't. But they keep referencing it like, oh, Jeff Bezos' uncle, and then I was like, what? His uncle?
Well, okay. So the way that this one is saying is he doesn't have a famous uncle, but in the sense of celebrity or well-known public figure.
Oh, he's not. He's not a celebrity. Yeah.
Yeah. His biological father, Ted Jorgensen, is a unicyclist and a circus performer, and his stepfather, Miguel Bezos, is an engineer and businessman who adopted Jeff. While Ted Jorgensen had a unique career, he's not widely known until outside of his circles, outside of those circles.
Okay.
So it's not really mentioning anybody specifically.
Okay. That's probably one of those like deep dives that they figured out through like research and stuff. Because they were saying like, yeah, it wasn't like that where it's like you just Google it. It's like you just look at the lineage and you can see that his uncle is like some famous dude. Or Trump's uncle as well was another famous dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a CIA connection. I don't know. I don't want to like muddy the waters here, but like there is something going on. And then it just makes you wonder. It's like, are they a part of some sort of like cabal now? Like it's like a network. You know what I mean? Like so,
Sure. Right. Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're influenced by it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an interesting network. So it's like, okay, so there's a famous ND that Tara works with. Okay. So you are technically connected, you know, like the seven
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. So you technically are connected to that famous ND.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's no real connection there, but it's like you can draw the line, you know, but it's like spheres of influence. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or like Carlos Newton, you know, it's like, oh, I know that guy. So you technically have a connection
Right. Yeah.
there.
Okay.
'Cause you can message me, I can message him,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Sure.
Or like you can ask me, I'll ask Tara, Tara will
Mm-hmm.
ask her ND friend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a weird connection there. And that's what I mean about these things. It's like, why are they all connected? It's like, did you ever reach out to that person? Did you ever,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You're not just like some random out of nowhere, but they try and sell you the American dream as like you're a random out of nowhere. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the outlier thing where everybody thinks that they can make it, but it's like, no, there are things that just lined up really perfectly to make you successful.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like a knowledge transfer type of thing where like even if like you me and Tara like went lost everything today. Like I lost my job and then Tara lost her practice. It's like you could rebuild it because
Mm-hmm.
you understand like you have the knowledge base. Like I can just apply for another job. She can just like do this thing. You know what I mean? And it's like that doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, or if you asked me like, hey, how do I do this? I would have the understanding. You see what I mean? Like the power of networks.
Mm-hmm.
You can tap that network for like an information thing.
Sure.
Whereas
Yeah.
like if you are just like super poor and you're super like I just don't even know you, you're like 2,000 degrees away from me. It's like good luck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Of course.
so with like the Trump thing, with the Jeff Bezos thing, it's like what is their circle like? Who are they asking for advice?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then that becomes your network, that becomes the cabal. It's not like they're not trying to work in the direction of a cabal. It just so happens to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have a photography job. Oh, let me call Wob. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't you choose the random on the street? I don't know that guy. I know Wob. So it's like you're part of the network now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that becomes the cabal. If we were just rich, like imagine, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's just life. That's just like the nature of life
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think it's like conspiratorial. It's just like, oh, that's just kind of how it's working out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're just like seeing the patterns. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else about that?
No. No. That's about. And I think it's just being in that area, or it's not like a cabal in that sense, as you're saying. It's not. I think it's just surround,
It's
like
just like
as you.
laid out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just someone that knew someone, kind of like that's how it's connected, and you're in that field or you're going in that direction. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right? Like, oh, I
yeah,
need
yeah,
a
yeah.
good lawyer. Hey, use Bobby. Like,
Mm-hmm,
what?
mm-hmm.
I don't know Bobby. I know Bobby though. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that can quickly grow too. And then that becomes like your professional network.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder too, like, there's a lot, there's a lot now that we're seeing. I was listening to this podcast as well with a quantum physicist who's like also a spiritualist. And what she was saying is also what we're noticing now too, which is the connection between science and spirituality. The bridge is quantum physics. Like manifestation
mm-hmm.
or like we okay, so I'm a big fan of like practical spirituality because it's like what does manifestation mean?
Right.
Like what's your colloquial understanding of manifestation?
Like believing something will happen because you think about it or something, like The Secret.
Yeah, and then it's just gonna
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, like The Secret, right?
Hmm.
Like people talk about that. And Billy Carson has this equation which is CT times A equals M, which is conscious thought times action equals manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, you act on it, then it manifests into our real life
Mm-hmm.
because your actions brought it to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people are so obsessed with the conscious thought that they don't move on the action.
Right.
So like something like that. But that's like you could break them down quantum physically too. It's like, oh, I'm like the observer effect and like
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing that a lot too. And one thing that they were talking about was like frequency versus vibration.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, oh, you just gotta vibrate at a higher frequency. Like like a spiritualist,
Sure. Yeah.
like you
Okay.
gotta vibe higher, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
vibrate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, what are you saying, bro? What are these crystals? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that the quantum physicist was saying, and it's interesting to think about, is like our brains have a vibration and frequency too, like delta waves, theta waves.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have vibrations in our brain, you know, and so vibration just means like something's oscillating up and down, and frequency is like how fast something's
Mm-hmm.
oscillating up and down.
Okay.
Okay, and they notice that with happiness, the frequency actually becomes really fast. You're like fully engaged in the thing. You're like, oh, dude, you know? And then like depression, sadness is a lower frequency because it vibrates slower and that's what makes you feel lethargic,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you're like, oh, I want to vibrate higher, it's like, that's literally what you mean, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we get lost in translation now where you're like, I want to vibrate higher, so I should go buy a bunch of crystals. It's like, no, they're talking about your brain, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because the thing is this, right? I think it's the issue is terms, like how you define things. It's like understanding what
yeah,
theory means and hypothetical and theory. Like theory colloquially is different than theory in science. Scientific theory is different.
yeah, yeah,
But that's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
totally.
I think it's People are bogged down with simple definitions, and that's what they only see. They're not looking more into it, right? So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
think it's just the stone vibration, but that's not what they're talking about because you don't understand the
Right?
actual definitions that they're using.
Dude, I've been in, you know what a I don't know that maybe it'll work. Maybe on a quantum physics level it'll work. Or maybe it's like placebo, but placebo is also a powerful medicine.
Hmm.
But like I've been in some places where you're doing like sound healing. So we'll hit like the
Hmm.
chime bell and
Yeah.
all the crystals around you and stuff. And they're like, oh, now I'm like taking your energy away. And it's like taking the negative energy away. And it's just like, what are you really doing? If
Hmm.
I believe that this is working, it'll work. But that's placebo effect. And you're like, oh, it's
Right.
not real. But like quantum physics shows you that observation creates reality,
Hmm.
like the observer effect. So I can actually make myself feel better if I like observe. Like I can manifest something into reality. Like I can will
Hmm.
something into reality. You know. So it's like, am I willing it because I'm telling myself that your sound bowl is working?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, but then the next thing is like, okay, what are your action steps after that?
Hmm.
Because like, do you just go back into the pattern? Do you not break the CBT cycle? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like okay, so we've gotten the crystal thing, we've pulled out your negative energy, but you're still a dick.
Hmm.
You're like, okay, maybe we should.
Maybe, yeah. I think they only pulled it out for that 1 hour session, and then after it's
Then it
it's
just
turned back
reloads
on.
itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why you got to keep going back. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe like maybe that it really is it though. Like
Hmm. I think that's the problem. If you only think of it that okay, I'm going to do it for this, but you're only doing it for an hour thing, and you're thinking that that's why I have to go every week to do it. But you can
yeah,
bring this with you outside
yeah.
of this one
Just
hour
don't
session. Yeah.
right. Just don't fill your cup with negativity again. It's
Hmm.
like, dude, I just
Hmm.
emptied the cup, and you're just adding more negative. Bro, what are you doing? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
We think that it'll just like end once we've done it once.
Hmm.
But it's like if you go back to the CBT thing, it's like your behavior affects your emotion and affects your thought. So it's like if you're still being a dick, you're gonna have negative emotions and thoughts, and then you gotta go back to the healer, and then you gotta like empty the cup again. The healer's like, dude, you're not doing anything. We're just like
Hmm.
running this cycle. You know, it's great economics for the healer because you get a lot of clients,
Oh yeah.
but but for like the person, it's like what do you expect to change here?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that again it's like it's not conducive to like our life isn't conducive to this level of understanding or like yeah, no, it's not conducive to this level of understanding.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is me like I love kids. You should just like just understand that society is just not conducive to that level of understanding. So me and Tara were walking yesterday and there was like a family in the park and they were all watching the two kids play this game and the game was like banana split. They played rock paper scissors and then the loser has to get lower and lower into a split and then if you can't stay standing you're gonna fall, right? That's
Hmm.
cool for like little kids, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that's cool for a little kid. That's all you know, bro. That's your game, cool. But imagine being the parent that has to watch it with another parent and then you have to cheer your kids on and then what if they
Hmm.
start bullying each other and you're just like, is my kid a bully? Or you're just like, your kid's being a bully. Are you going to step in? But I can't parent your kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
there's so many weird dynamics associated with having a child. But no, no. So many dynamics with being a parent. Because everyone
Right.
can have a child, but being a parent is like different, right? You
Hmm.
have to like guide the kid. So like, if you're spending, we're like looking at the time. We're like, oh, it's like 7 p.m. They're playing this game. When do you rest? When do you like evolve yourself? When do you know what I mean? It's not conducive to that. It's like, oh, you got to go to work the next day. It's like, dude, why you should be working? You're a parent, bro. Your whole job should just be parenting, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just not conducive. And then it's like, maybe that's why we run in these cycles as well. You know, it's like once you hit that level, it's like, now I just got to focus on this thing. But all my focus is on that thing that I haven't leveled myself up. But by not leveling myself up, I'm affecting that thing as well,
Hmm. Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's why we're stuck in society. Like if you had all the money in the world, you could do whatever you want, bro.
Hmm.
Like, yeah. That's the real conspiracy, bro.
True.
The social, no, but like really though, right? Like that's the social structure.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening in LA right now? No, my kid's playing Banana Split, bro.
Mhm.
Please, I can't. You know, right? You know? And then you can only like see the marketing associated with vote, vote, vote.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Right.
no, but really think about that
That's
though, you
true.
know? That's like,
Yeah.
that's the hustle. If we just keep you asleep and busy enough and tired enough, you have to keep chasing the money, you know, then it's like no time to pay attention to these bigger issues.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was listening to Naval Ravikant. I think did I talk about him last week? No.
Don't think so. I don't know.
He's the dude that said like get rich first, then become spiritual.
I think you did. Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So one thing he was saying is like, you know, like everyone should have children. It's just like, but you're rich, bro.
Mm.
Of course you. He's like, oh, I'm looking jacked. Like he's looking jacked, right? He's like, I'm working out now. I'm like, when do you find the time?
Right.
You know, like as you got 9 to 5 for a regular parent, and then you got to go to the gym when, or
Hmm.
you got to wake up a little earlier, but you also have to prepare breakfast for them.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
meal plan. Okay, but you also have like a chef.
Hmm.
You wake
True.
up, the chef's already made the
Yeah. Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. True.
So of course you can go to the gym, you
Hmm.
know? I think these like unrealistic expectations are plaguing society.
Hmm.
What do you think? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then how do we escape it, Vish?
uh, Understanding the mind.
You think that's you really think that that's how we're gonna escape it? Just like understand the mind.
Yeah, I think you have to understand who's controlling who.
Okay.
Right, how society
Interesting.
is run, right? Are you
Right.
making the decisions for yourself, or are you being, uh,
Run on autopilot.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah, or someone else making the decisions for you?
I would have believed that. I would have said the exact same thing
Hmm. Yeah.
until I saw how much these groceries are, bro. And I'm not with all this is why I'm all about UFOs, bro. The only thing that'll save us at this point is just UFO free infinite energy, bro. We need some energy to reduce these costs. We were at yesterday we were at the grocery store and like we had the money for it, but I was like, I can't consciously buy a $7 2 liter 2% milk. That's
Hmm.
just that's just we're going nuts, bro. $7. What are we doing? Like, I don't think any amount of understanding the mind, like, I mean, like, it would be great if that was the thing, but I just don't know anymore. Like, I think practicality, you hit the wall of practicality. Like, maybe they've like enslaved us too much because of the cost. Like, it's not just a mental thing anymore,
Hmm.
you know? Like, unless you just choose like more consciously before you make the decision. But I'm saying if you're already in the situation, like you have like 5 kids, like what are you gonna do, bro?
Oh yeah, 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 of
You know
course.
what I mean? Like
Yeah, it's a privilege. What I'm saying, it's not like,
the mind thing, right? Like no, no,
yeah.
like for sure. Like if you understood the mind earlier, maybe you'd be like, oh, maybe I only want that thing because other people have it,
Hmm.
or I only want that thing because they're telling me I want to have it.
Hmm.
You know, that's understanding the mind. It's like, but if the mistake's already made, not the mistake, but like if you've already made the decision and then it's like you can't come
Sure.
back from the decision, it's like I, I don't know. I
Hmm.
really don't know.
Yeah,
UBI, something, you know, like
hmm,
it all comes down to money.
that's how the society's run. Yeah.
Yeah. So with all that in mind, if we're just on this trajectory, you
Hmm.
can also see how it's just going to explode.
Right.
And that's why I'm freaking out, bro. I'm like, I just don't see a way out aside from aliens, bro. Like, it's become the new God to me because I'm like, all right, God's got to save us, bro. Like, we just need some, but not God, but just like free energy. If you guys literally have free energy, like, release it because
Hmm.
we're in a really bad state. Like, you know, that's why I asked you, like, well, how do you get out of it?
Right.
Because, like, maybe there is a solution,
Hmm.
or maybe there is no solution within our current model. And that's where I'm at now. I'm just like, I just really don't think that there's a move, you know?
Right.
Unless you disagree.
Um, well, I think new technology is generally what we try to utilize to fix situations. Yes.
So that's it. UFOs, bro. We need those UFO techs.
Hmm.
Right? Like, no, but like really though, I'm like, I'm trying to brainstorm like an actual solution here. It's like, well, maybe if you just tax the rich and then you give that tax to the people and then like, but here's the problem with that, Bernie Sanders. If you tax the rich or tax the company more, what are they going to do? Increase their prices. So you
Hmm.
really move the needle in no direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's not a viable solution either. And then we're going to vote somebody in to do that for us, and they've only got 4 years to fix that problem, and then they're going to be swapped out. Like, no, I think the operating system we're running has hit maximum capacity.
Hmm.
Do agree or disagree? Because that's a pretty like stark point of view.
Yeah, I think it may feel like that. I don't know if the solution is. I mean, if it's true, if this.
Breakthrough energy.
Right.
No, but I'm saying like, what is the other potential here, or are we just screwed?
Maybe that's the other thing. Yeah.
Jeez, I was really. Usually you give me like a counterpoint, so I'm like, oh man, I didn't think about it like that. But now we're both going like, oh, it looks like we're screwed. Like, oh, that's not good, you know?
Hmm.
Because like the squeezing out of the middle class thing, it's like, bro, like the rich get rich, the poor get poorer. Like, what are we doing? We
Yeah.
can't live like this.
Hmm.
Do you remember when? You know, it's actually really crazy. And I was thinking about like Tara said this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so true. When we were kids, even the poor families that we knew had houses.
Hmm.
Right now, everyone's living in like an apartment because it's cheaper, or they're living in like a basement house type thing. You know, it's like, what is the new generation going to look like? Are people going to go over to people's houses? Are you going to play outside? You know what I mean? Like us, it's like, well, I'm going to go over to Vish's house, or you're going to come
Hmm.
to my house,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You get like a house to play at, right? But if like you have a two-bedroom apartment, it's like, where's that kid going to play, bro?
Hmm.
You go outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what our life is going to look like in like 5 years because everyone's been saying like it's going to look so different, you know, with AI and like all that stuff. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. No thoughts on it. You're just like stark. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, this is the current economic model
Or is
that we've.
or is this our version of doom scrolling?
It could be. But we are like, if these are the issues, right?
All
The
I'm saying is look at
costs
the
of
facts,
things.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, oh, you guys are doom scrolling. Like, or am I just looking at the facts, bro?
Mm.
I don't like I don't know. What like do you think it's like do you think it's just like we're spinning the cycle of negativity, you know, or is just like what are you gonna do about it, or like
Mm. No, I think I
because if
think
you look,
there's evidence to it, of course. Yeah.
but if you listen to this, right? What like
Are we
what are
part of
your
the
well?
doom?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean, right? It's
Hmm.
like I don't know, you're just like adding to the negativity,
Right.
or we're just saying like making choices.
Well,
Like
it
people are maybe
depends,
everyone's
right?
like goodbye, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if we're just adding to the negativity, sure, it's probably if that's the actual thing that's happening, right? Do we just not talk about the things that is happening, and then we just only talk about the positive things? I mean, you could do that, but
Yeah,
then you're not really talking about the real things, right?
right, right. And I'd rather know the demon, right? It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. You
Hmm.
know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that path can lead very badly. Okay,
Sure.
don't make that mistake, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy was saying one thing that this
But I think
podcast
I
he was
think I
saying.
think just sorry, I just wanted to add. But I think yeah, we do talk about these sort of things, but then at the same time we do talk about things that are exciting, right? Like
Of
if we
course,
watch
yeah, yeah,
something, so it's not like there's like a level to it.
yeah, totally, yeah, for sure. I'm just like, this has been my hyperfixation at the moment. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
where are we headed, bro?
Right.
You know? And like the dude that I was listening to was like, as Rome burns, do you know where everybody was?
Mm-hmm.
In the Colosseum. They were all just chanting for like, kill the tiger,
Right.
while like the politics were falling and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to, I saw the Kendrick Lamar's as a concert.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. I'm wearing the tee right now that I got.
Oh.
One of the tees. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so weird because with all like the negativity we were talking about, like the economics and stuff, those ticket prices were hell expensive, bro. Like we were in like the 500 range. Like we made sure to be at the very edge because like last time we saw Blink, it was like there was people in front of us and like
Oh,
they
right.
stood up and we're
Right.
like, oh my god, bro. So now we're in the very front so we could see a direct clear view, which is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like almost $400 for a ticket because it was like 300 plus change plus tax. And then they were selling like last minute tickets because like Tara sister was like a big SZA fan, and then she was looking at it, and they were like $400 for like the nosebleeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like who got that money, bro? You know what I mean, like, dude,
Right. Right. Right.
it's crazy. And then one thing that so there's a Kendrick Lamar hater, like academics. He was like showing that a bunch of the people in the pit were white people. And he's like, oh, this is Kendrick's fan base. I'm like, no, they could just afford those $1,000+ tickets, bro. Because
Mm-hmm.
like to be in the pit, it's like almost 2K. So like, who's dropping 2K on a show? You know,
Right.
it's like this was the Rome moment. Like it was great. It was a great show, but I was just like, you just stop thinking about the negativity for a moment. You just like dial in,
Mm-hmm.
and you can like leave again. But it's so weird now seeing like so many people that I look up to in real life because you're like, dude, they're human.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. So, like, I always see Kendrick Lamar, like, a music video up close. When you see him in real life, you're like, dude, that guy is tiny. I see why Drake was using that as, like, the punchline for his joke,
Mm.
you know?
Right.
But it's like, you're a person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was tripping out at one point because we were all, like, into his song. And I was just like, how does one person capture, like, a sold out stadium?
Right.
Dude, that is wild that human beings can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're like they had a rap battle and now we have a whole sold out stadium, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
with fireworks and like economics. We're all paying like hundreds of dollars to be here. And it's just like, whoa, there's like great potential here. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Like humans are like when you saw Hans Zimmer, it was
Yeah.
like, dude, he's just like an orchestra person, bro.
Yeah. It's
But it's like
just
you've
that.
captured us, bro. You know, you're like, oh, I gotta go see you.
Right. Right.
It's like, what's that weird hypnosis? Not that I would never do it again. Like, obviously, that stuff's fun. I'm just like, it's just crazy to re-examine my own mind and be
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, like this is what humans will do. And I wonder if it was like the Coliseum time too. Like when you saw the gladiators, were you so obsessed that you would sell anything just to go see them?
Yeah. People are
Like,
crazy. Yeah. Of
you know what I mean?
course.
We recycle, like it's the same human behaviors over
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't like. What do you mean by evolve? Right. We're still the same human beings
I know, right?
since
We just have
it's only
different
2,000
tools,
years. Yeah.
right? That's so insane.
That's it.
One
Yeah.
thing what they say, like,
I mean, we still have stadiums. A stadium then, stadium now. We're doing the same thing.
yeah,
It's
no, literally though, right? But one thing I heard was like 100,000 years, like a person from 100,000 years ago is genetically the same as one now.
mm-hmm.
They're just different tools.
Right.
So I'm like, you're telling me that if I took somebody from 100,000 years ago and I just like educated them in the school system, they'd be like, oh yeah, I get what's going on. So what does that mean about us, bro? Like, are
Mm-hmm.
we just still animals that we think that we're smart? You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm intelligent because we're talking on this podcast. But it's like, no, you're still just an animal, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing when you see him in real life, you're just like, oh, dude, it's a person.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm captivated by a person right now. That's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
crazy. The weirdest is when they cry. Like there was a fan, he was like signing things, and then she started crying. I'm just like, whoa, you made that girl cry just by your
Yeah. Yeah.
existence. Oh,
Yeah. I
you know
mean,
what?
like, but then it's like for as you said, like he's just a person, but putting all that on one person, which is the impact that you have on people's lives, right? To make that
Mm.
person cry, what does that make you feel, right? It could, you can have that God complex
Yeah.
with that kind of feeling, but then it's also like, the amount of effect you have on a person to go through that emotional, um, crying or whatever kind of thing that you're doing. There's a lot of power in that, and
Yes.
that's where it's like some of that power. I mean, if you're not in the right mindset, can be controlling, right?
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that because I really think that there was a spiritual battle that was happening with because everyone's looking at it like, oh yeah, it's just a rap battle between like Drake and Kendrick. And I'm like,
Mm.
no, bro. It's between what they represent. It's good versus evil. And people are like, oh, you're talking about good versus evil. I'm like, no, no, no. Look at their lifestyles. They're antithetical to one another.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Lamar is literally out running. There's so many videos of it. So like he was in Detroit, he was running with his bodyguards, and then a kid saw him and then like started running beside him, and then he's like, oh hey, and then the mom was filming it, but they were getting kind of far, and he stopped. He's like, hey, you gotta go back to your mom, bro. You gotta go back to your mom. And then the kid's like, okay, bye, and then he kept running. I'm like,
Right.
that's a cool guy. Look at the lifestyle. And then like Drake, I just saw it this morning. Jagmeet Singh went to the Kendrick concert, and then I don't know why you'd post this online, but or I don't know if it's Jagmeet Singh or Drake who posted it, but he replied to Jagmeet's story and wrote "goof," like you're a goof for going to the concert. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's just what we're gonna emulate that behavior, or we're gonna emulate the dude running,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then if you listen to like Drake's songs, it's all like even during the rap battle, it's just like lies he made up. Like, oh, your wife had a baby with your friend. It's like, dude, that's not even real. But then Kendrick is like saying, I'm out here teaching my son to wake up early, exercise, pray to God. It's like literally a spiritual battle of what they represent,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like when you said with great power, because you have like a lot of influence on people, it's like, yeah, what are you going to do with that influence?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Kendrick had a alcoholism problem. That's what the Mr. Morale was about. Him going
Mm-hmm.
to therapy, right? And then now he's fully sober. Now he's getting jacked. Now he's like, but in the right way. He's like actually exercising. Even in his song, he was like, Drake had all this plastic surgery, whereas Kendrick's doing it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual battle, bro. You know,
Right.
and I think that I feel like good is slowly winning over evil in this. It's like, yeah, like look at the lifestyle, bro. There's one song on Kendrick's album GNX, and he used Tupac's um, beat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think no, everyone's like overlooking how powerful this one song is. It's um, it's called Reincarnated, and like you wouldn't just sample Tupac's beat without making it impactful, right? Because like Tupac is Kendrick's idol is Tupac. No, he idolizes Tupac.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that whole song is about overcoming past life traumas.
Mm-hmm.
And he played it at the show, and I was like, oh, here it is. It was like the middle of the show, so it's like the climax. Well, I guess you always end with the ultimate climax, but there was a point where he played that song, but I knew that there was a point where like God speaks to Kendrick, and he's just giving him lessons. Like every human is just a different version of you, seen through different eyes. Like God is speaking to Kendrick, saying that in the song, and
Mm-hmm.
then he was like putting emphasis on that. I'm like, dude, you have like a whole stadium listening to you tell us that every other person is just another version of you, and we need to extend grace towards them because they could have been you if you were them.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing that, bro?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's why it's so hype. Like people are like, "Oh, you like the rap battle?" It's like, no, it's more than a rap battle.
Mm.
It's like a culture war.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Wait, yeah. Is that like too out there? Wait, I feel like that is what's really happening.
Yeah. I mean, this is art, though, right? So, of course, not everyone's going to take it that way, but there is this perspective there for that, and I think that I think that kind of what makes a good person good, right? By those actions that they do, they're not like hiding behind a
Yeah.
tower. They're there
Yeah.
among the people.
Oh, I love that you said that, bro. Are you have you been seeing any Kendrick Lamar things?
No.
Okay, you all right, so you said exactly what he's been doing, bro. So like there's so many clips online of like on the Venice Beach boardwalk or something. There was a dude who was doing pull-ups and
Hmm.
then he was filming himself doing pull-ups, right? And then he looks behind him and he realizes it's Kendrick Lamar doing pull-ups too.
Right.
Not the best pull-ups from Kendrick Lamar. They were like
Sure.
they're a little
Yeah.
weird. But you know what? You're out here with the people
Right.
doing the thing. You
Hmm.
see what I'm saying? And he was just like so low key and no security. Like the dude
No,
didn't
but even
know
even I'll
it was
just add.
Kendrick.
I just want to add that even though if it was doesn't look like good pull-ups, that's a person, right? He's doing something. It's like
But he's doing something.
okay, yeah. I don't think
That's what I'm
even
saying.
Drake
Yeah.
would. Drake is only going to show the cookie cutter version, right?
Right. That's what I mean, bro. There was a before before the rap battle, the reason why the first diss track from Drake was called Push Ups is because so Kendrick doesn't really post a lot online, right? He was like ghosting the world for a bit. And then he posted on his story him listening to old school beats, just doing I call them prison push-ups, but I think
Hmm.
people call them commando push-ups, where you like do you know what a burpee is? Like go
Yeah,
down,
yeah, yeah.
push up. Yeah, but he does it in like a gangster way, so it's like, but it's prison yard push-ups. So he's doing that over and over and over in the video. That's just all he posted, and
Hmm.
I'm like, good for you, man. Like, because now we all want to do push-ups.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
what you
yeah.
said. It's just like the subtleties. Like it's your actions. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like why is Drake's like so manicured and like total antithesis of one another?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know? And then you see like Drake like getting upset at a politician for going to a show, bro. Like what? You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like why are you having an outburst? That's weird.
Hmm.
You know what's crazy too? So Drake set up a stream where he's gonna like showcase his album or something at the same time as the concert. So I went home and I was just like, I don't follow Drake, but I was like scrolling through the thing, and they said that he canceled it last minute. He's like, oh, I need to put some more effects on it. So I'm like, you just showed everyone that you promised something you didn't deliver.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like these little things, bro.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. And like Kendrick's speech at the thing about like talking to God and like praying and stuff, you're just like, I mean, like, it's not for me, but like, I get what you're doing, like exemplifying leadership,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I think he's like the champion of our spiritual battle.
Hmm.
I know that sounds so weird to say, but it's like art affects who you are.
Yeah.
I saw this picture where it's like the best albums, like the best music changes you as a person, not just something you listen to, right? So it's a picture of like the Blink 182 album, and then all these kids were walking into the Blink 182 album, and they were walking out punks, right? And like the caption was like, the best albums change you as a person.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, for sure, because art cuts you deep, bro.
Yeah.
You know? And then like what are the messages you're literally listening to
Hmm.
over and over and over? Like, are we,
True.
is
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean? If you hear Man at the Garden, I Deserve It All, waking up every day, running 6 miles, like if you hear that over and over, that's programming in your mind.
Hmm.
Whereas you're like, oh, I'm going to the club spending a lot of money. It's like, okay, which program do you want, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was trying to listen to like old school, like 2000, 1990s rap. And I was like, oh, I can't listen to it because it's so like gangster. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to put that in my mind of like hoes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, whoa, why do you call them that? You know?
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Big changes to come in the future. Yeah. Okay. I'll ask you one last time. Do you feel like something's coming? Like now that we continue to talk about like every week, I'm like, dude, I kind of feel like this. And then like last week, we didn't even know about ice. Remember, if you listen to last week, it was just like there's this thing that's like ice happening, and then like within the 1 week span, it was like, dude, what just happened? You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like I'm just waiting for the moment where you're like, oh yeah, there's something happening, because I'm like I can see it. I don't know if everyone can see it right now, but there's like
Mm-hmm.
a weird battle that was springing up, and it manifested, like I was saying, in the Drake versus Kendrick battle. Like that was just more of like the artistic expression of it, but like that's just everyone out here. We're all battling like the forces of evil, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No, still like, oh, just humans being humans.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there like another time when you're like, oh, this is exactly like that time? Like what are you referencing that to? Like, or maybe I'm just overly fixating on this sensation of good versus evil, or not even good versus evil, just wrong decision or right decision.
Uh, I mean, it's all man-made systems, right? Nothing is perfect.
What I'm saying is, I feel like the system's breaking. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's the battle. The battle is the old. Let me clarify. You're right. The battle isn't between like good versus. It is good versus evil, right choice, wrong choice, but it's also really like the old system versus the new system.
Mm-hmm.
The old system is like the wrong, the bad choices. We're in a society now where like parents can't even be parents because they have no time to be parents.
Mm-hmm.
You're working so hard. Like, what are you doing, bro? So like with that, do you feel like we're running up to the edges of the operating system, or we're about to change it? I need a rationale.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just be like no. Like okay, like, I don't know why you said no, but
No,
like
no, no. I think no, no. I'm not saying no. I'm saying it's possible. Yeah, I think if there's like if the society is not working and there's a detriment, I think that there's change that needs to be
but
done.
for sure. And but do you feel that society's not working and there's a detriment?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
There are
then one can
issues with
conclude,
society. Yeah.
but there's like okay, there's like World War II issues, and then we had World War II, and nothing really, it kind of changed, but like we're still running that old operating system. Like I'm wondering, have we run up to the end of the operating system's lifespan, and we need to upgrade like are you running iOS 4 on a iPhone 14, and you're like, dude, you need to get on iOS 14, bro? What are we doing?
Yeah. No, I think it's. But you're still running on. Uh, it's still running under iOS software, right? But yes, you're on the
Oh, I
upgraded
see what you're saying.
version, but you're still running on iOS software. I don't think
No,
that
no,
changes, but I think
iOS is society. No, I agree. Like society
yeah,
will not change. Like we are society, but
yeah,
it's like the operating system's like the governance, the features, the we'll still be a society. Like I don't think we're just gonna
yeah.
have
That's what I'm saying.
anarchy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like no,
yeah,
we're still gonna have to collectively get along. We're always
sure.
gonna have an OS because there's so many of us. But what I'm saying is like, are we due for an upgrade? And are we about to get a new upgrade?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling too, bro. And that's what I'm really seeing. I'm like, it can't all just be a coincidence. And people are like, oh, you're hitting the age of Aquarius. It's like, what does that even mean? But now I'm like, oh, I see what you mean. Like, dude, it's looking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then my question is, what do you think it's going to look like? Although technically they said you won't be able to fathom the world in 5 years, but it's like, what, like, do you think that we'll still have unequal structures 5 years? It's almost like totalitarian government. We're all going to be plugged into the matrix, and then you're all just like batteries. It's kind of how we're heading already.
Mm-hmm.
Or are we going to have like free agency, utopia, trying to build everything to the best of its ability?
I think it's we're reaching towards this like the latter.
Like the best of its ability?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is required of that?
Well, change in
So,
that
like,
direction. Change with like going in that
like,
direction, right?
like, for sure, for sure. Let me say something like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at like all right, so like Philippines and China,
Mm-hmm.
they're not like happy together, right? But I saw this thing about like the technological abilities of China and like what they're building. It's like so unfathomable their engineering. So I sent it to my cousin who's like, like Philippines China tension. And I'm like, you gotta admit though that that's pretty impressive, the engineering. Right?
Hmm.
He's like, yeah, it is impressive. Yeah, China's amazing with their ingenuity. So it's like when I ask you what was required of that like evolution, does it require some sort of like totalitarian government? Like, what I mean? Like, what do we need? You need like a benevolent ruler. Because we already talked about like breakaway civilizations and we think that we're free, but it's like really not because the banking system owns us. So it's like, do you need somebody to like come in there and be like, let's right these wrongs? And people are like, oh, Trump's the one that's going in there writing the wrongs. I'm like, what are the intentions of the person? That person has been charged with like
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
craziness and
Yeah.
like, you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whereas if you have like a benevolent ruler, like maybe we just need to be ruled as a human species, bro.
Yeah, but I don't think that's not going to work. I think that's going to cause
No,
more
no, but
problems,
no, no,
right?
but not ruled, not ruled like, not ruled like, do it or die. Ruled like, hey, this seems like the best way forward, guys. We're gonna. I heard what you said. I heard what they said. We're trying to come to an agreement, and it seems like this is the best approach.
Hmm.
We're gonna go this way, guys. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's still a ruler, but
Hmm.
like a benevolent ruler.
Right.
Like I'm wondering if we're just like a hive mind, bro. Like Tyler the Creator, he was saying this, like he's such a great artist because he can predict how the hive is gonna react. And I've never heard anyone say that before.
Hmm.
He's like, I gotta pay attention to the cultural zeitgeist, like the cultural consciousness, so that I can figure out how to manipulate them with my notes. And the hive mind works in a specific way. I was like, hive mind, whoa, you just said that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, maybe we just need a queen bee, bro.
Hmm.
You think so? You said like
Yeah. I think that's what the is it the WEF or whatever that's called, the economic thing
World
where they,
Economic Forum. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Where they decide for us
where
what we're gonna
they
do.
try to work together to figure out the direction to go, right? Together.
But there's so many conspiracies around that. That's the you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah. No, no, I'm not saying that. Of course, there's going to be people who talk about the conspiracy around that, right? But if that's the scenario to reach all good for all humanity, because that's the only place where they can actually like work
Oh my god,
together.
what if it becomes like a one world government? Wait, what if it is a one world government? No, no, wait, hold on. Think about this. You have like
Hmm.
a president with like governors.
Hmm.
What if just extrapolate that a little further, bro? The presidency is like the World Economic Forum. The governors are like the country owners.
Hmm.
It already kind of is run like that.
Hmm.
Because don't they get together and they're like, okay, these are going to be the policies?
Yeah.
Kind of a weird thought. Maybe we do have like a cabal at the top that nobody thought about. Because you're like, I live in a country, I'm free. But it's like, no, these dudes are meeting at the World Economic Forum to talk about fiscal policy, bro.
Yeah.
Best not to look into it. There's some things where you're just like, I feel like if I think too much about this one, I'm gonna go crazy. Like you're gonna like uncover, it's like too much information.
No, I
Would you
think
really want to know? Would you really want to know? What if you could find out the true? Here's a better question. All right, I gotta go soon. Here's a better question because Tara did this for me. She plugged in like her star sign into ChatGPT and like explain this to me, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! Like, I'll do it for you, and then you can ask him what your destiny is, right?" I was like, "I don't care." So, would you want to know if somebody could tell you like the truth about everything? Would you want to know? Like, oh, this is actually how it's run. Yeah, you're being manipulated by this. This is how money actually works, and like laws and governance. Like, yeah, we actually meet. We figure out there's actually UFOs totally out there, and we're just like, would you
hmm
really want to know? Or would that break the psyche?
I'm trying to think. Would that remove any kind of like interesting things about life if you know everything?
Maybe. Would
Okay.
it? Like,
Yeah. Then it's just then it'd be boring.
but not everything about like what you're gonna do. You still have free will. Like you can literally choose.
Mm-hmm.
Hard determinists, you and I. But then finding out quantum physics, it's real. Free will is real through like the what is it? The superposition.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So, anyways, no, your choices will change. Can still change. But I meant like if you just knew everything about how the game was run, would you want to know? Do people really want to know that? The people asking for disclosure about aliens, do you really want to know that? The Epstein files, do you really want to know that? Do you really want to know how the CIA is run? You know what I'm saying?
I think
Who killed
they
JFK?
I think they want to know, but I don't know if they'll accept the truth. Because
Do you want to know so you could
then your
validate?
journey ends.
No, no, no. But do you want to know so you could validate what you already know? Because you're saying that accept the truth, or do you want to know so you can appropriately adjust your point of view? See what I'm saying? It's like I want to know so I know I'm right, or I want to know because I want to know what's really going on. There's a total difference. There's like a slight difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides
I
want to
think
know,
it's more. I think it's more like I want to know I'm right, and you won't
yeah,
believe it if you're not right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe we don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to know the real truth unless you're open enough to like change.
Yeah.
But I also fear if you do know the full extent of things, you'd feel trapped. Like, let's say you did find out, it's like you'd just be like, oh, the whole system's a lie. Or would that be freeing? You just like, oh, okay, it's all a lie. I could do whatever I want now. I just like, I'm gonna go take agency. I'm gonna go max out my credit card so these won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I feel like knowledge is power, but like, how many people really want to know? Let's scream out, I want to know.
Mm-hmm. Don't know.
I know.
I think that you'd only want to know if you are correct, but then
Right? I
if you're
know,
not
right?
correct, you're not going to believe
You're
it.
like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
I know. No, or
You're
even
not going to
if,
be able
or
to
if
handle
you,
that. Yeah.
yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel with the UFO stuff. Like, I'm like dipping my toe slowly in now. Like, before I was like consuming it like water. I was like a fire hose, like, dude, tell me, tell me. Now, like, some of the stuff, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I really want to know that. Like, what if we are in a virtual sim?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, what if they're just like, yeah, so you're actually just in a meat suit and it's not real. When you die, you're just gonna unplug from this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you just jump off the building then? And you're like, what is the other world like? Jump. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
could
yeah,
really affect you. It could
yeah, yeah.
really
Of course,
affect
of
you.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably this world is better than the other world. That's what some of the
It's
Matrix
like the
people say.
Matrix. That no, but for real though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I was thinking about this one scene. Last thing, because I gotta go. Um, the the thing I was thinking about from the Matrix is that scene where he's eating the porridge
yeah. Mm-hmm.
on the ship, and he's like, "Oh, it tastes bad," you know. And then the guy was like, "Oh, if you close your eyes, it's almost like runny eggs,
Mm-hmm.
right?" But it's like, why do you need to imagine it? And I was thinking about this. Does knowing everything take away that beauty of life? Because you're like it becomes all a sham at that point.
Yeah.
If you're in the Matrix, it's like, oh, it's a fun sham. Oh, it's like a steak and like whatever. But like then if you go and if you know the truth about something, it's like it takes away that like the beauty because you become jaded.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the people outside the Matrix are just jaded. Like that's the allegory there. The reason why everything tasted bad was because and they were on a terrible ship is because it's like they're jaded by the fact that they can't go back to this dream.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
because that might be how it feels. You know, you're just
Impossible. Yeah.
like, oh, dude, we're in this sim. You're like, oh, it's not real anymore. Oh, what's the point? What?
True.
Why am I working out if like this body won't even matter later?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying? You're like, true. Something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it makes sense. I think that's what they were trying to say. Like
Because
that's
I
what
was
they
always
missed.
confused by that scene.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, why does the real world suck? It's like,
Hmm.
oh no, because like the truth is kind of rough.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, happy Father's Day to all. Any final thoughts, Fish?
Mm, no, it's an interesting time. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on too. Anyways, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, well, like what? Like,
Oh, you didn't see the. We'll get into another time. Just the
all right.
parades.
What? Parades?
We're
Is it a
going
long
back to
topic? Or,
history, huh?
wait,
It
what?
seems
What are you talking about? What are you
there
talking
was
about?
a military parade in America that's never really happened.
Oh, the thing I
Since,
sent you, and I was like, is this real?
was it the military parade? I don't know if I saw that one.
Yeah, it was like they were like parading around and they were like playing trumpets
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they were like, "This is Trump's America." I was like, "What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, it
Is that
sounds.
real?"
I mean, it's never happened in America since probably World War II or something like that. To have like having tanks on the road. That sounds a little bit like
Nazi Germany.
Nazi Germany.
What? Oh, that's crazy, bro. Dude, and we're only are we 6 months in?
And supposedly it's for Trump's birthday. The military parade. That sounds a lot of weird
Oh,
stuff.
dude, that is some Nazism, bro.
Mm,
January, February, March, April, May, June. June, 6 months in,
yeah.
and we got military Nazi-ish parades, bro. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with one conspiracy. One conspiracy, because that's very Nazi-ish. One thing that they were saying with the UFO thing is
Mm,
that the Nazis cracked anti-gravity. They had some connection with NHI and they started building. It's called the Bell. And when World War II ended, the reason why USA brought over all those Nazi scientists in Operation Paperclip is because they made such advancements in aerospace that they wanted that knowledge. And then another person said that think about it, if you're bringing in all these Nazi people, you're bringing in Nazi ideology. Technically, the Third Reich has infiltrated America
mm-hmm.
through their like scientists. And I'm like, that's a crazy conspiracy, but that is really weird that you're parading tanks for a dude's birthday.
Right. But the other thing I would ask that is if they did have all this crazy tech, how come they didn't win the war?
They couldn't operationalize it. They didn't finish. They didn't finish the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The bell. They were working on it, and then the they lost the war, and then they're like, oh, we can't. But America wanted to continue it. That's
Mm-hmm.
why they took the scientists. Yeah, because they would have lost. You're right. They just didn't crack. They just didn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Sorry. Last thing. Last thing. One thing that I heard was if the Inquisition or something, there was like a time when like the Islamists were ruling, and then there was a crazy destruction of them.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you heard about that in history? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So allegedly, the science was so advanced that they predicted that we could have entered into space in the 1800s with the trajectory that they're going on, but then with all the knowledge lost through like those crusades and whatever, uh, that's what like stifled us back. Because they're saying the mathematics at the time was like really revving up. It was like
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting. The like where could we be if we just worked together, bro? That's all I'm saying. Like let's just work together. You know,
Well, I mean, it can makes it, I can understand why did the Inquisition happen, right? Maybe they weren't being treated well. So
oh, true. Okay, fair. Yeah, true. Maybe something crazy was happening.
yeah, because there is a reason to fight back. If everyone
True.
was fine, had a good
True,
time,
true. Because why?
why would they
Yeah,
revolt?
fair. Okay, fair, fair, fair. Yeah. I can't believe we're at 8 billion people. That's crazy. Remember when we were younger and it was like 4 billion? That's a lot of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like when we were kids and they were like, oh, soon we're going to have not enough resources for everyone on Earth. 6 billion. Oh, no. Now we're at 8 billion. Like, what are you talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's weird? I heard this too. The weight of the world never changes. The weight, like the actual mass, so like the weight of the world never changes. No matter how many more people we have, no matter how many more skyscrapers we have, all we're doing is just taking and transforming
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
that energy into the next thing, right? It's like, you see what I'm saying? It's
Yes, I
like you take
understand.
steel
Yeah,
from
yeah,
one
yeah.
place, you build another place, but the actual mass of the earth doesn't change, which is crazy because like we are all one, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Energy can't be created or destroyed. Like you're
Yeah.
literally just transmuting
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
We're like
Yeah.
one
Like how
people,
else do you make
bro.
those materials? It comes from Earth.
Right? Like,
The
yeah,
same.
it comes
Yeah.
from Earth. That's what they were saying. It's like, yeah, it comes from Earth. Even though it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, there's more people, there's more buildings. It's like, yeah, but you refined it. Like you're not actually affecting Earth
Mm-hmm.
on like an actual like in an actual way. You're just terraforming it.
Right.
Yeah. So well thought. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Uh, we'll end it right there. Till next week. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.